Drunk, hammered, wasted, sloshed, smashed, mullered, plastered. There are so many different words and ways of describing being drunk and the states of drunkenness, and this has always been the case. If you look at the December issue of the Gentleman's Magazine from 1770, and I'm sure many of you are avid readers of that 18th century publication, there was a piece titled Observations on Drunkenness, a letter written to Mr. Urban, the editor of the Gentleman's Magazine. The author, a Mr. T. Norworth, thought it might be of interest to readers of the Christmas issue of that year's magazine the sheer number of words and ways of describing drunkenness of the time, many of which have fallen out of fashion but are pleasing just the same. Got his beer on board, top heavy, a little in the suds, cup stricken, but some of which we may recognise in some form today. Drunk, intoxicated, fuddled, tipsy, got his skin full, boozy, and groggy, defined by the author as a West Indian phrase and relating to the drink grog. Grog essentially being a drink of watered down rum, and named after Old Grog, Admiral Edward Vernon, so named Old Grog because he used to wear a coat made of grogram, a waterproof fabric. Vernon was concerned about drunkenness in the Royal Navy, possibly a reasonable concern considering that the daily rum ration of a sailor in those days was half a pint of spirits. In 1740, Vernon stipulated that spirits such as rum were to be diluted with water at a ratio of 1:4 spirits to water. The water on board tasted pretty unpleasant and brackish if you consider it had been stored for a long time on board, often in tropical temperatures. So, if available, sailors were allowed to add sugar and citrus juice, lemon or lime. In fact, in 1756, naval regulations stipulated that they had to add lemon or lime juice to their grog in a bid to stave off scurvy. This navy rum here is underproof compared to the rum that would have been served in the days of Vernon. This is 40% alcohol by volume. Back then it would have been at least and just over 57% alcohol by volume. The so-called 100% proof, more accurate to say 100 degrees proof. It was that strength because they could prove the strength, hence the name of the proof system, by using a small amount of gunpowder, soaking it in the rum and putting light to it. If it failed to light, it was underproof and possibly overboard went the purser, and job vacancy for one purser. If it lit, all is well and good, and the rum was good. But because this is weaker than the 100 degree proof rum, I'm going to use a higher proportion of it in this mix just to get an idea of what it was like being watered down. So, and I'm having a much smaller quantity here, if you bear in mind what the rum ration was. I'm not going to be using the daily ration of half a pint of spirits, and therefore I am not going to be using 1/4 of a pint in my morning ration. So here I am just using 50 ml of this 40% alcohol by volume rum, and I've added that to 140 ml of water. I didn't go for brackish water. I suppose I could have left it for a few months in a barrel, but I've just gone for fresh tap water. And a bit of sugar and lime juice in there. Yes, it tastes like watered down rum. But to be fair, that's not too bad. Mainly thanks to the addition of the unrefined dark brown sugar and the lime juice, and I dare say that wasn't always available, so I would imagine without the sweetness of the sugar, and if there was no citrus, that would be a fairly insipid drink. But that was your daily rum ration, you had to get on with it and drink it. Cheers.